You've just torn your hamstring. How long are you going to be out for? This video is going to give you some practical insights to give you a rough guide. We're not going to go through scans and MRI reports classifying it anywhere from a 1A to a 4C. I've done that in a different video. So without a scan, what can you tell? First obvious one, which can give you some initial indication. Could you walk off the pitch or hobble off, or did you have to be carried off? That can give you a rough guideline around the severity of the tear, but the more research-backed predictors would be the location of the tear itself. So the higher up it is in your leg, generally the longer the rehab. So if you have the tear in the middle or a little bit lower down closer to your knee, all the better. So remember, higher up, generally more time off the pitch. Another predictor would be how long it is before you can jog again. So if you can jog 2 or 3 days after your injury, and that doesn't have to be completely pain-free, it could be about a 2 or 3 week layoff, suggesting it's grade 1 or 2A or B. If it's 4 or 5 days before you can jog, really you're talking closer to 4 weeks before you can get from that to being able to sprint and return to play again. If you can't jog for 6 or 7 days, it's potentially at least a 5 or 6 week injury before you can get back playing, and maybe longer depending on the location of the tear. Sometimes in these situations, getting a scan can help to manage expectations of both players and also the management. Just one thing to be mindful of: if you can delay return to play by 1 week, you can drastically reduce your re-injury rate. They did a study on this where everyone in the group hit the necessary markers, and half of them returned to play, half of them delayed it, and 60% lower re-injury rate in those who gave it 1 more week. I know that's not always possible, but at certain times of your season, you think of risk reward and it might be worth thinking about. Now, obviously, this timeline is affected by what you actually do to help yourself recover. So what should you do? You can't rest for too long or you'll fall into the pain, rest, weakness spiral. So ice for the first day if it's very, very sore, but then ask yourself the question, what can I do? That might be walking or off-field conditioning like the bike, or just working the muscles around the hamstring like the hips and glutes in positions where the hamstring isn't stretched. Maybe you just do an upper body session, but this more proactive approach is better than just resting and doing nothing for too long. These exercises here are examples of isometric muscle contractions, where the muscle is working but it's not lengthening. The research would show that these promote cell growth and start the healing process. These don't need to be completely pain-free, but it needs to be bearable, and you can dictate the level of pressure you apply downward through your heel to ensure that it's just the right amount. You can start these as soon as you can tolerate it, ideally if you can do it after the first or second day. The next thing you should do is to go and see a therapist, and they will carry out an objective assessment and hopefully give you a more accurate diagnosis than you can give yourself. Just one thing to watch: you need to leave that session with a load management plan. It can't be all massage and rest. The rehab process involves getting your hamstring to be able to tolerate more stress. So you need to leave that session with a clear plan, knowing what exercise you can and can't do and how to structure it in your week. The other thing to watch out for is that you aren't told there are 5 things wrong with you. Watch out for nonsense like anterior pelvic tilt or leg length discrepancies, or it's your ribs, or you can't breathe properly, or you're walking incorrectly. That sort of advice is very common. Steer clear from that. Tearing your hamstring is a load management issue. For most of us, it's that our muscles can't cope with the stress being applied. Too much too soon or too much together, or not enough recovery time. I think of it as you need to prepare your body better. Strengthening is a major part of that. The exercises shouldn't be sore afterwards. Load the hamstring on a day on, day off basis, and the reason for that is you can take your day off to allow your muscle to recover, and also so that you can monitor your symptoms. Do your running and hamstring strength exercises on the same day. Hamstring work after the running. Here is a sample plan. For more specific guidance, please check out all of these videos, and any questions you have in relation to a hamstring injury or any injury at all or returning to play, just comment below and we'll get back to you. Thanks.